Hello, all my little weirdos. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Freaky Fridays, where each week I bring you along on a tale of a legendary ghostie. This episode, we are heading just outside of Chicago, Illinois. More specifically, we are entering the gates of the Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois, which is just about 30 minutes from Chicago. I wanted to introduce to you the cemetery because it is technically the home base for this ghost story, but we will also be out and about in the area because this ghostie is on the move, living her best life. Today we are talking about Resurrection Mary. This girl is a hitchhiker ghostie with reports dating back to the 1920s to the 1930s. She is known to hitch rides with mainly men, asking to be taken home to Archer Avenue. And these men that pick her up don't know that she's referring to the Resurrection Cemetery on Archer Avenue, but I'm sure they do come to a realization when they come up to the gates of the cemetery and their little buddy girl vanishes. There are two different accounts on what this vanishing ghostie looks like. One says that she's a young woman with pale skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. And this version is wearing a sort of a formal white party dress. The other account says she's the same blonde-haired, blue-eyed pale girl, but this time she's wearing kind of like a thin shawl with dancing shoes, and she has a small clutch purse. So the legend that started in the Chicago area goes that Mary was out dancing all evening with her boyfriend until they got into a heated argument. Mary stormed off and decided to just walk home to compose herself, which was a bad idea because she was struck by a car and that asshole drove off without even checking on her. So her dead body was found and her parents buried her in the Resurrection Cemetery wearing a white dancing dress and matching shoes. The hit-and-run asshole was never caught. So I say it's a legend because we don't really know if that's true at all. That's just the story that unfolded around the Chicago area. We don't even know the true identity of Resurrection Mary, but I'll get into that a little later. Ghost hunter Richard Crowe has over 36 reports of Resurrection Mary making people scratch their heads in confusion. So let's dive into a few of those stories. In 1939, a man named Jerry reported that he met a beautiful woman at the Liberty Grove in Hall and danced all night long with her. He says they even shared a kiss and she asked him for a ride home. He later recounted that something felt off, although he was really digging her vibes. For one, her hands were ice cold, like abnormally cold. And for two, she told him she lived in Southside Chicago, but asked to be taken to Archer Avenue, which was in the opposite direction. With that put aside, he just took her where she requested to be taken. When she asked him to stop to let her out, they were in front of the Resurrection Cemetery, and Mary vanished when she got out and closed the door behind her. Jerry was baffled, as he should have been, so he decided to put his investigation pants on and get to the bottom of that strange occurrence. He told the reporter that he went to the address that Mary said she lived in the very next day. The door opened and there was Mary's mother. When he asked if she knew Mary, her mother bore the news that Mary was her daughter and she had been dead for nearly 3 years at that point. There were a couple of cab drivers that got the boot from Mary as well. The first report came in 1973 when a cabbie went into a lounge that was located just across the street from the Resurrection Cemetery to inquire about a woman who got out of his cab at that location and left without paying her fare. Try explaining that one to your boss. The second cab driver report came in 1979, and this guy's name was Ralph. Ralph told the reporter that he picked this blonde lady up, she was a real looker, and told him which direction to go. When she told him from the back seat here was her stop, he said he looked around and didn't see any houses, so he was confused and asked her where she was talking about. He said that she pointed toward the cemetery and said there, So when he looked at where she was pointing and then looked back at her, she was gone. He was put on record saying, "And the car door never opened. May the good Lord strike me dead. It never opened." There were also multiple reports of people either hitting or nearly hitting a woman that fits Resurrection Mary's description right in front of the Resurrection Cemetery. But when those citizens got out of the car to check on the girl, she's vanished by the time they even get out of their car. And those that actually hit the woman stated there was no impact at all and no sound. These accounts happened in 1976, 1978, 1980, and 1989. There is a report of the 1980 incident stating that Claire and Mark Rudnicki saw a woman with a white gown walking down the side of the road. And they instantly knew she wasn't an ordinary woman because she had a white aura around her and she was transparent. With Resurrection Mary being a known thing in the area by that time, the Rudnickis knew exactly who it was, but they wanted to turn around and confirm their suspicions. So they busted a U-turn, but by the time they turned the car around, she was gone. I also mentioned earlier that the identity of Resurrection Mary is actually unknown, which is wild to me considering the stories that have been circulating about her. Many have searched the Resurrection Cemetery in hopes of uncovering who this hitchhiking ghostie is, but there are only 2 Marys in that place. The first one that is believed to be the Mary is Anna Norkus, aka I think it's pronounced Marija. Anna was 12 years old and said to have been struck by a car in 1927 when walking home from the O. Henry Ballroom, which is the same story that correlates with our Mary. The other Mary is on a whole different playing field. She is believed to be 21-year-old Mary Bregovi, who died in a car accident in 1934. How they are getting a 12 and a 21-year-old mixed up, I don't know, but that's the thing about ghost stories. They're ever evolving and have different layers. So that is the story of Resurrection Mary. If you have any other ghosties you would like for me to do an episode on, drop a comment below. And until next time, bye.